This is definitely going to be a controversial video, very taboo right now. In the future, probably not as taboo. But I'm a person who really bought into the red pill manosphere, folks, before 2020. And they have a lot of good advice. However, things have changed. And I really haven't listened to these people. I look at their advice and then it's like, yeah, it worked really well in the past and it made a lot of sense, but nowadays things have flipped. So I did a little bit of research, and I might have said this in a different video, but I'm going to say it again just in case I didn't. But I was thinking to myself, man, it feels like there's more men than there is women everywhere I go. I moved to this state, I moved to this place, I moved to that place. I'm just surrounded by guys. Why does it feel like that? I go on dating sites and there's such high competition with other men for the little women that use it. There are women that still use it, but they get so much validation that it's like you have to accept less and less if you want to interact with women nowadays. And I understand the whole social dynamics of like what women are looking for, generally speaking. They like security and all that, and you got to have a little bit of game, like they say, for sure. The social awareness and all this and that, and it's just, but the high competition. Anyway, why is there so much competition for these women? I should get this out there before I forget. Basically, I asked AI, this is why it feels like that. And it said, according to the census of 2020 to 2025, every single age group from 5 up until 59, there's more males than there is females. And then at 59, it switches. So given the fact that, the LGBT is I don't know if it's as popular now as it was a couple of years ago, but there's a lot of people who, it's the same sex people that, for women, the lesbians, that they're out of the dating. They're out. And then like if you go on here and obviously if you're trying to better yourself in all these different ways, you don't want to, I have to be careful, YouTube. You don't want a woman that's just going to let her physicality go, if you know what I mean. That, and then you see a lot of these women are exposing themselves to everybody on the internet behind a paywall. So I don't really want I don't take a woman seriously for that. And then obviously you have all the guys giving them infinite amount of validation on the internet. I was flipping just through TikTok in the middle of last night, and I was like, why are these older women like on live? And I didn't click on the actual live, but I was listening to what she had to, and they really don't have anything to say. It's like they're trying to keep a relationship with their audience, basically their fans, and that's what these guys are. They're basically fans for them. They try to use their sexuality, and it's like these women aren't, they're at my level or whatever, or maybe a slightly below, but these guys act like they're movie stars, um, because there is a lack of women out here, to be honest. And also, a lot of women, American women, are some type of level of feminist, even if they are right wing or conservative. They're in their masculinity, and I don't really find that very attractive. Some guys might, but I don't. I want a woman that's gonna be soft, not rigid. I battle enough at work, or you know, just dealing with life, and when I come home I want peace. I don't want to have to compete. I want it to be easygoing. I don't want to try to compete against somebody that's supposed to be my teammate. So basically, these red pill guys, I don't know what they're doing nowadays, but they have the same thing, the same spiel. Basically, if you can't get a relation, then sleep around, do this and that, and that's fine for a while, but you do put yourself at a lot of risk for multiple reasons. Of maybe they wake up the next day and they regretted what they did with you, but in the moment they were fine. Or you're talking to a woman, even just texting a woman, maybe you never even met her, and then she's out here messing around with some other guy and this guy, and then something happens to her physically, and then all of a sudden the police look at her texting history and they see you, and it's like, okay, now you're a suspect. And anyway, I look at modern women, and I look at them, and I don't see anything long term with them. Not all. It's just like the ones that would be a long term, they're already taken. And a lot of these women just even if they don't expose everything to behind a paywall, they're still showing off everything to everybody, and they've had a lot of different partners, so it's like, this isn't very special to me. So for me, since I have a huge body account, I feel like a hypocrite. Basically for me, if I was to get into a relationship, a long-term type of relationship, monogamous relationship, she's had a higher body count. I feel like kind of a hypocrite. As long as you're clean, you're not talking to anybody else, you're not messing around with anybody else, I could kind of look past it. It's like, okay, now you're mine, and you're not going, and I feel like you're not going anywhere, But what I've also noticed is even women my age and a little bit older are still as immature as the younger women. Maybe slightly more mature, but they're still immature. There's not a lot of self-reflection. There's not a lot of taking accountability of failures in relationships. It's always the guy's fault. Always the victim, and it's you picked the guy, and what did you do? Some instances in my past, I'll say one. My ex-fiance, she wanted to go to the bar all the time. Not all the time, but when she went to the bar, it was till it closed, and I wasn't there, and I didn't like it. I have to go to work the next day. She's rolling in at 2 o'clock in the morning or whatever she's doing, but if I did that, then that's a problem. It's like they could have all these types of friendships with these different guys, but if the tables are turned, it's a problem. And that's what a lot of mentality of women nowadays. It's like, yeah, I can have all these guy friends, but you can't have, you know what? I'm not going to put up with that, because I'll treat you how I want to be treated, and I expect the same in return. So I expect you, if you have guy friends, to distance yourself from them. You can be like, now and then, hey, how's it going? Blah, blah, blah. But you don't need to talk to them every day. You don't need to have a work husband or anything like that. If you're having a monogamous relationship with me, because if I was to do it, that's a problem. And this is why I just don't really take women at my level and below really seriously. Now, like I said, there are some good women, but it's like a diamond in the rough at this point. And who the hell am I? I'm just some regular schmo, you know what I mean? I'm just a regular guy. So, you know, when I was into self-improvement, I was self-improving really rapidly in my life. When I was like 27, I was going to the gym all the time. I noticed when an older woman was around me, you know, maybe she was slightly older than me, I wasn't like as energized. Now, if a younger woman came around, then I start getting a little bit more energized. So, like, it motivated me to work harder and do better. And I've noticed this last couple of years that I have been demotivated and kind of doing this yo-yo. I go into this, maybe it'll get better, so I have to work harder for this, you know, get in my bed, I'm getting hotter. And then I get into this, what's the point? So, like, for me, at this point, I am trying to better myself, trying to get hotter, is for myself for sure, but obviously men peacock and do things to attract women, because we like, I don't do stuff to try to look good for other guys, you know. I'm not into men, so I really I really don't. If I go into an environment, it's a bunch of guys, I'm not going to be trying to look the best I can for them. I don't care. Now, if it's women, I want to be the most presentable I can be if I'm trying to attract them. And this is why guys have accomplished what we've accomplished. Like, we've built the stuff that we've built in society, all these comfortability, comforts, and all this other stuff, is because that has been, you know, that driving factor to want us to do better, to work harder, to accomplish things that you wouldn't be able to accomplish if you're just doing it for yourself. For me, seeing the environment that it is, my whole thing is I want to be able to ego check women. I said it a couple of videos ago when I walked through a supermarket the other day. I had some cargo shorts on, and I usually always went out in sweats or basketball shorts. So I looked somewhat presentable. And I seen this young woman I was walking, like she was right here, and I'm walking with my cart, and I can see her. She was probably like, I don't know, early 20s. And I see her looking at me, and I just looked forward. And I know she was probably thinking, how is he not even looking at me? And when I was younger, any woman I passed, I turned around and see what kind of, what she was working with. I always did that because I think the booty looks cool and the how they present it. You know what I mean? And so they know it. And me talking about it, I'm a creep. But So that's my motivation. My motivation is to be able to walk through and just reject, reject, reject. That's my motivation at this point. But another side motivation, and this could be a motivation for guys if you can get to this level, instead of going through and trying to trying to work hard to get this extra money, which is really hard nowadays if you are from nothing, get the best body, work on the game, working on all this stuff. Maybe the best thing to do is, since there's a lot of older women and they have money, is to, and I know this is predatory, but like so women do this too. Look at Anna Nicole Smith. Put yourself in a position where you can be around women who are single older women who have like millions of dollars, and eventually developing some type of relationship. Like for me, if I was to ever be in this position, which I don't think so, and I know it sounds crazy, I know this is taboo and you're a creep for saying this, but women do it, they're not creeps. And I wish it wasn't this way, but you know, given the fact of the landscape of like I just laid out, it's a high competition for these younger women. They don't really take you seriously. You're basically a fan to them. You know, they're not going to really be that loyal to you. They're always going to try to find something better. Well, if I can make myself attractive to a multi-millionaire, or perhaps even better, a billionaire, available woman that's like 70, 80 years old, and I can make her last few years of life absolutely amazing. You know, what do I want to? Do I want to stick in squalors and try to, you know, keep fighting the system, or do I want to get, you know, make myself hot and on multiple levels intellectually and everything like that? I know it's crazy. I know about hypergamy, but I think that when you get to be older, you realize money really ain't nothing. It's more about relationships. It's not about stealing from them. It's about making the last few years of their lives awesome so they leave you an inheritance, like Anna Nicole Smith. Is it creepy that who's the creep in that? Is it the old guy that was dating Anna Nicole Smith? Or is it Anna Nicole Smith being predatory? Like, who was the predator at that point? I mean, wouldn't it be Anna Nicole Smith using her sexuality to but he was fine with it. Well, why is it different the other way around? So if I make myself hot and I'm dating an 80-year-old woman who's a multimillionaire, and she, instead of, you know, her kids maybe doesn't have anything to do with her, but I do, and she leaves me the money, leaves me a good portion. Why not? Like, I'm actually giving her attention. I'm making the last maybe it's 10 years of her life absolutely amazing. We're traveling, you know, I have she's got somebody to talk to, you know what I mean? So, like, I know this is crazy, but I think this is ahead of the curve. And I know the stigma, people are going to get in the comments, but I'm just like, yeah, I can keep fighting, and it's like a losing battle, you know. There's all these guys I'm in competition for with like a lesser. But there's all these women who have a bunch of money that I can make their life enjoyable. And that could be a motivation to make yourself and give you something to try to achieve. Instead of like, I'm gonna try to check all these boxes and become rich, become high. Like, it's almost impossible. You know, it really is almost impossible. And these red pill guys, especially maybe if you're younger, yeah. But if you're somebody who is, which a lot of their audience is, you know, middle-aged guys, um, you pretty much have to pick one area and try to excel at it. Uh, in reality, you have to check every box, and we wonder why women's. If you wonder why women's standards are so high when it comes to like superficial things, is because if the shoe was on the other foot and there was an ample amount of women giving you attention, you would start using little things too. I've already done this myself. I mean, when I was doing really well in the dating scene, um, 2010, 2016, I would come up with things where I don't really need to talk to this woman anymore. Like, just kind of like, she lives too far. Or look for little things because I have so much attention coming at me. Um, but yeah, I know this is completely unconventional thinking, but we are in unconventional times as well. Are we not in unconventional times? Does the average man feel like would we have like 7 million men not working? We have a lot of men feeling like, what's the point? So I guess that's it for the video.